All right, you ready? No. Once I intro this thing, we're up.
I'm gonna laugh.
You know the drill. It is what it is. I'm running with this. Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast. I am Brandon Rahe from Go Headquarters, and with me today is Coach Rachael Brock. We've got a good topic today, I think. One of Rachel's favorites, one of mine as well from a coaching side. It is squatting. Bunch of different types of squats, right? We squat all day, every day in a functional capacity, back squat, front squat, overhead squat to pick an object up. You do a squat in some style, right?
Yep.
So today we want to go over 5 tips for how to improve your squat. We aren't specifying whether this is an overhead squat, front squat, back squat, thruster, it doesn't matter.
Just squats in general.
Yeah, just as a theme, squats in general. And we're going to try to give you some take-home tips for that. So we're going to go countdown style, starting in at number 5.
Okay. So number 5 is identifying the problem. So what kind of problem are you having? Is it a mobility issue? Are you not getting low enough? Are you not strong enough to lift that certain amount of weight?
Yeah, you got to know what's broken to fix it in a way, right? So identify the problem, admit that there is a problem. For those of you that think you're not below parallel, or that you are below parallel when you are not, we got to work on that stuff. What's the limiting factor? I think that also touches on goal setting a little bit, right? If you're trying to fix something, it means there's also an end goal in mind. Are you looking to lift heavier weight?
Right.
Are
or
you?
Just
Yeah. Is
lower.
it? Right. Is it lower?
Or is it for like a Metcon, like for CrossFit? Is it just to go fast and lift light weight like 10 times or a certain amount of reps?
Yeah. So we've got some efficiency topics to go in mind. So anyway, identifying the problem is definitely a big tip. Figure out what the issue is so you have a path to fix it.
Right.
Next up, number 4 is training frequency. How often do you work on it? Just like anything in life, how often do you go to work? 40 hours a week. Well, how many hours a week are you squatting? If there's a problem, especially, how long will it take you to fix it if you're only squatting once a week?
Right. Practice is definitely key. Just getting in a few more days a week than you already are, even if it's without weight, even if it's like, just doing like 10 air squats a day just to work on your form and whatnot, just to get that, what's that word called?
I don't know. I've left my crystal ball at home.
Just to get the volume in. That's
gotcha. Okay. Can you squat? I'm only squatting, let's say I squat twice a week. Is that enough?
No. Well, depends on your end goal. Do you want to squat 400 pounds? Do you want to squat 100 pounds?
Can I squat every day?
Yes.
Should I squat super heavy every day?
No. Definitely you need to deload. Give your body a break. But you can definitely do the motion of a squat every day.
Yeah. If we're throwing up some wall balls, we're doing some lightweight thrusters, air squats, whatever. If it's just a byproduct of some other moves like snatches or clean and jerks, like we're squatting every day. That's not too big a deal as long as you're not hammering it, to the point of diminishing returns.
As long as you're not like maxing out every day, then squatting is definitely okay to do every day.
Yeah, there's a moderation, but the frequency can be there for sure.
Right. So our third one on the list is power, which is just moving a certain amount of weight in a speedy manner or over a certain time. So different kind of things we can work on for power are like box jumps, any kind of sprints on the rower, on the bike, or just running sprints.
Yeah.
Any comment?
So power as a topic, the difference between power and maybe just work is that there's a speed component, there's a time component. So if I can squat 200 pounds, but it takes me 4 seconds to get up, and Rachael can squat 200 pounds and it only takes her 2 seconds to get up, she has more power than I do because she did it faster, even though we moved the same load. But if we don't ever train for power, we may not be developing that side of the system, that side of our training. So we can do things like Rachael was saying, plyometrics, right? Box jumps, that's an explosive movement. Speed work, running, explosive intervals on rowing and cycling, things of that manner.
30-second intervals, just going like all out instead of just sitting there for 20 minutes and going at a slow pace. That'll kind of help you. Say if you're having trouble like getting up from the bottom, being more powerful is going to help you get that weight up quicker, which would definitely help for more kind of Metcon kind of thing. Instead of just 1 rep maxes, if you're doing like a 10 rep max, you need to be more powerful than strong, I guess.
Sure.
Say.
Yeah, and like
just a mixture of both.
Yeah,
together.
And things like 2-for-1 wall balls require an urgency and speed and timing. So working on that different system, other than just always doing sets of 10 at a normal cruise control speed, it's just training outside the box from your norm.
Right.
All right, so that's power. Number 2 on the list, which is probably the lengthiest conversation really, is accessory work. Now what we mean by accessory work is, our primary focus is squatting, but we don't want to just squat all the time. Yeah. We're only going to get so many results, I think, from just squatting. There's so many other options to focus on, and I think this goes back to the first thing we mentioned, which was figuring out what the problem is. That will help guide us on what our accessory work is. So accessory work is just doing things to help supplement the primary goal, which in this case is squatting. So what are some examples of maybe some accessory work?
So like working your erectors, things like skydivers or extensions on the GHD, things like that, just working that low back, because you with heavier weights you're going to have a big load on your back, and you need that core to stabilize you definitely in your back too, just to prevent injury and to just be stronger all around.
Yeah, maintaining a neutral spine. So if when we squat, we're the person that crumbles like this under a heavy load, we've got to be strong enough to support that and stay neutral.
Yeah.
Another one is just leg power, right? Or is it that our core is strong enough but our legs can't get us up? Well, we need to work on specific leg strength. So maybe we're doing single leg exercises, lunges, step ups, pistols, maybe sled push.
Yeah.
Things like that, that leg strength will carry over into your squat routine.
Right.
If our knees are diving in instead of staying out, what do we work on?
Abductors.
Abductors.
Yeah.
Right. So we need some more glutes.
Some banded work.
Sure.
Getting those bands on, just doing your abductors out to the side.
Yep. So depending on what the problem is, anyway, we're going to steer that to the correct path to try to fix those limiting factors, whatever they are. And chances are we need a little of all of it, really.
Deadlifts definitely help too, just with that low back too, and hamstrings. Like
sure,
actually
that whole posterior
use your hamstrings for squatting too.
Yeah. All right. So number 2 was accessory work. Number 1.
Last one is mobilize, just mobility in general. How flexible are you? How low can you get in your squat? Are you having ankle mobility issues? Like, are your heels coming up when you squat? All mobility issues that can be easily fixed and improve way more than just your squat, but definitely can improve your squat.
Yeah, I think probably I would almost say the number 1 thing we see as coaches every day is mobility issues. That in a squat, people can't get low enough because XYZ.
Enough, yeah.
Something's hanging them up. Their hip mobility, their hip flexors, their hamstrings aren't there. Maybe
ankles too. Like sometimes, just like
sure.
Not getting that motion here.
Yep. Not having enough ankle flexion and extension to keep the heels down. So again, coming back to that first thing we discussed, identifying the problem. What mobility do you need to improve to allow you to get below parallel and stay in proper position and stay at a neutral spine fully extended?
Okay.
I think that all comes back to identifying the problem and then coming up with a game plan to, in this case, mobilize to fix the problem. So obviously having a good coach look at you during your squat will help identify the problem and develop a game plan. But these are things you can work on every day. Going back to the 4th tip was training frequency. That also goes for the accessory work, the power training, and the mobility training that we're talking about. So all of these tips, all these 5 tips kind of work nicely together.
Right, and you can always improve. Like, it's never going to be perfect. So all of these tips can help someone who thinks they may be an awesome squatter. Like, all of these things will help improve. So maybe you can get to a weight that you thought you couldn't. Maybe you were stuck there and kind of work on these things and get to that goal.
Yeah, there's a million ways to break down a squat. These are just some of the tips that we think encompasses kind of the whole big picture. Even if you have different goals, whether it's lifting heavy, becoming more efficient, maybe being safer, or just looks prettier in general. I would rather have a pretty squat any day than a super heavy and really ugly squat.
For Instagram.
Yeah, for Instagram. All right, so real quick review coming in at number 5.
is identifying the problem.
Number 4 was training frequency.
Number 3 was power.
And number 1 tip is to mobilize. So those are our 5 tips for improving your squat. Hope you guys train hard. Rachel, thanks for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Did you say number 2?
No?
That
I
was
didn't say
your
number
job.
2.
You said you skipped number 2.
You're number 1. I said number 1
You said
instead.
number 1, you
Shit,
skipped.
we skipped number 2.